Hello friends, Jenkins here, bringing you another Dota 2 video on behalf of Dota Alchemy, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Matumbaman's Tidehunter versus TNC Predator in the lower bracket of the Chongqing Major. Actually, they eliminated TNC Predator with this game, so it was pretty hype, but in any case, there were mistakes this game. There were very good things that Matumbaman was doing, a lot of very interesting things, but basically the most important thing about this replay is that there were a lot of concepts that Matumbaman displayed that I think are relatively important in terms of just being a good Dota player, so I wanted to talk about it, but in any case, let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to show you is just a way that Matumbaman creates a lot of extra farm for his team by understanding the fact that TNC Predator doesn't want to fight him. So essentially, Matumbaman is what a lot of pros would refer to as a dead hero, which is essentially a hero where you pick on the enemy team where it's like, I'm not fighting if that guy's there. We're not fighting the Venomancer. We're not fighting the Tidehunter. It's just a very easy way of like choosing when to fight in a game. If you pick one hero and you just choose not to fight around them. Generally, these like dead heroes, as people refer to them, they're very obvious, like a Tidehunter or Death Prophet, some hero that completely just demolishes a team fight. But in this game, he is absolutely a dead hero. So look where he's farming right now. It's completely in the enemy jungle. His team is nowhere near. He knows that because he's the Tidehunter, the enemy team knows that the only way that Liquid wins a fight is if he's there. So they're going to kind of just impulsively assume that if he's there, that a fight is good. If a fight happens, it's so bad, it's so risky that it's not even worth risking be anywhere near this guy. So it's kind of boring to be Matumbaman in this game, but it's also a great power that you have if you know the enemy team is going to avoid you. So he can do stuff like this, where he is just completely hard farming in the enemy jungle. Darkseer's farming this jungle and dewarding. Gyro's farming this area, which wouldn't be safe if Tide wasn't here. He's essentially acting like this big bodyguard who is creating this zone for his team just by being intimidating over here. And he wouldn't actually do this if he didn't have the Ravage. But even if you're doing this and you're a dead hero and they do kill you, generally you're playing in an aggressive position in the enemy side of the map, so they don't get towers for doing it. They don't get a lot for killing you just because it costs them a lot of resources to kill the tankiest hero on the map, especially if you have a Ravage available or if you're like a Sand King and you have the Invis to work with in Epicenter. Like, you make it so not worth it for the enemy team that even if they kill you, they're just it feels like they're just wasting their time. So here at 35 minutes, we have another example of where Matumbaman is basically playing on the complete opposite side of the safe zone of farm that his team is taking. And this is kind of another way that you can play this sort of dead hero where you are securing a smaller zone for your team, but you are securing it much more safely. This is a lot safer than playing completely on your own, but it's a way to have an impact as that hero that you know the enemy team is going to want to avoid, where you basically just play completely on the front line, and this not only goes for team fighting and jumps and ganking and stuff like that, it goes for just generally farming as well, because then if the enemy team wants to enter into your area of farm, whether it's with a smoke or just by making some sort of rotation, they have to enter through you. So that's kind of like a way where if you're very content with just like farming a small area of the map very quickly, let's say like later into the game, 35 minutes, you can do the exact same thing and have a huge impact just by playing a little bit closer to your team, but still far away enough that you're giving them a nice bit of farm to take themselves. So originally this video was going to be a general replay analysis video, but as I was recording it, I kind of had the realization that a lot of the stuff that I was talking about in terms of farming was the same as the team fighting. Like, basically all of these concepts that I'm talking about are based on the same principle, and that is this idea of zone control and creating a zone, whether it's a small zone in a team fight or a large zone for farming or an even larger zone for farming but a little bit less safely. So here we kind of have the smallest zone that you can possibly imagine, other than maybe like taking Roshan or something like that. But essentially we have a team fight. The fights have been won by TNC Predator. Almost every single fight has been won by the Grimstroke and the Lich getting off their combo on the Gyro and Io. So essentially all Matumbaman needs to worry about is trying to keep these two heroes, as well as maybe the Chronosphere, away from his Gyro and Io, and then what's been happening in the team fight so far won't happen again. So we can see already that his camera is looking behind the tower. So the tower's here, and they're looking to siege the high ground. They're looking to fight as well, but essentially Matumbaman knows that he's not some sieging hero. All he needs to do is jump in. So who does he go for first? He sees the Lich, and he immediately knows that in order for the Lich Grimstroke combo to work, essentially the Lich has to be alive. So he knows the Lich is an easy target and incredibly high impact. So he jumps in, one hits him with Anchor Smash, uses the Ravage because it's that important. Doesn't hit him because he died, but that's only because who the hell is going to expect Anchor Smash to do 2,000 damage? Gabby goes past the Tidehunter, who is doing a very, very good job at zoning, and unfortunately his team has no way of getting past. So essentially Tidehunter is creating this zone right here that is safe for his team, where the enemy team would have to walk past him and take 1,000 damage Anchor Smash hit. If they were to walk past, they'd have to get through his actual body. He has BKB available. He has this Vlad's giving it to his team. So essentially, Gabby is completely on his own because of where Matumbaman is positioned in this fight. And you can see that he's literally walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because he wants to hit Gabby, because he is a mid-Tidehunter, so he does a lot of damage right now. But he also realizes that the reason that this team fight is probably going to go so well for Liquid is because he has split the team fight into two. Now they don't have Chronosphere, and now Liquid can take the racks, even though it's a 4v4. They can very easily take this racks. So once that is the case, once they know the chrono is down, Matumbaman, instead of focusing on zoning and going into the fight and going on the back lines like we saw him do, he focuses on the buildings, which is the polar opposite of what he was doing earlier, because he knows that his job was already done. The chrono was already wasted, the fight was already broken into two, so all he needs to do is hit the building and abuse the fact that they know they can fight without that chronosphere. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. I want to make one quick announcement at the end here that Donnie and I are now publicly doing Alchemy Answers every Tuesday, 6 p.m. PST, and we're doing replay review session every Thursday at 6 p.m. PST. If you sign up to our Patreon, you can basically put your replay in anytime during the week. You can put a question in for Alchemy Answers anytime during the week, and we will answer it, or we will do the replay review. And even if you don't catch the stream live, you'll see your replay reviewed on video. So if that interests you, we would love for you to check out our Patreon and support us in another way. But if you're watching, that supports us as well, so I do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video.